Live at Mannin Sheds in Ramsey today, just behind Ramsey Cottage Hospital. With we're talking to Roy Neal and Jerry Guthrie as well. Roy, you're the coordinator, is that right?
That's right, yes.
You're the man in charge.
Well, sort of.
How long have you been involved here?
Since 2015, we first started doing feeler meetings around the island. Well, Live at Home did.
Yeah.
I found myself, I had to retire at 50. And I was looking for something to do, and I always fancied something like Mannin Sheds, and I knew the one in the south, but I thought, that's too far to go, because I'm on a pension. I thought, I can't afford to go all the way down south. And when the opportunity come up for Mannin Sheds to open, I went to every feeder meeting, and then out of that feeder meeting, we formed a committee. I ended up being, as normal, told you're chairman, so that's fine. That progressed, and we managed to secure the plot at the Ramsey Cottage here, and then it was from there, let's go for planning and all sorts. Then I was approached by Joe Dixon, who was then the manager, overall manager, and asked to see if I'd do the coordinating of the shed, and I said, certainly, dear.
And do you are you here 4 days a week then?
I'm here 4 days a week.
What did you do before you retired?
I'm a foreman, tradesman, joiner, my traders.
So this is meat and drink to you then, this?
It's second nature.
So,
as I say, I'm a jack of all trades. I'll have a go at anything.
what's he making there? A musical instrument? What is that?
That is a lyre, which is about 100 and odd years old.
Oh, he's refurbishing it, is he?
We are going to refurbish it, but very, very gently.
Do you know anything about refurbishing musical instruments?
No.
No.
But it's fundamentally woodwork. So everything you do on it, you do very slowly and very carefully and methodically check everything.
Where did you learn woodwork?
I'm a Manxman born and bred, so I actually did my apprenticeship on the island.
Who with?
Johnny Keenan, who's lived in Ballaugh, so it's just a small firm. Basically, me, him, and two lads. And I learned everything from bricklaying to doing trains, to doing concrete and joinery.
Tell me, Roy, why were you interested in getting involved in this?
I've got a very caring nature.
Everybody's nodding around
Yes,
here.
I've got a nature where
Yeah.
the wife says I'm too soft, really, but I can't say no to anyone. Someone comes and asks me, can you help me do that? I'll go, oh, yeah, I'll do that for you.
And it's a very good spirit here as well. And obviously, I think membership's doubled, I think Jackie said.
Yes, we try and keep it light-hearted and an enjoyable environment to come into.
And Jerry's with us as well. Jerry, how long have you been involved with Mannin Sheds?
Since the beginning. We used to meet at the hospital, in the hospital before this was ever built. 9 or 10 of us every week.
And how many days a week are you here?
I'm not here that often because I actually work repairing vintage cars just up the road.
Oh, you're still working as well?
Well, I am, but I'm getting on a bit.
What are you repairing at the minute?
A golf buggy.
That's not a car, Jerry.
No. Well, before that it was a 6.5 litre 1932 Racing Green Bentley.
Well, and that was yours, was it?
No. It was customers.
Where is the darn thing now?
Yeah, down in Maccord.
Oh, right, okay, good. So, what do you do when you come here? Do you make stuff? Do you mend stuff? What do you do?
Well, when I come here, I've got a model train set, so I'm still trying to find a space, as you can see, to put it up.
Crikey. Roy, what machines have we got here?
Well, we've got quite a range of machines. We've got wood lathes, we've got band saws, we've got circular saws, we've got planers, all hand tools, electrical wise, and we've got workbenches. We've got, eventually, we're a full self-contained.
Where did you get them from?
Most of the smaller stuff is all donated. Some of the bigger stuff is mine, but I like to use it.
Oh, it's from your shed, is it?
It's from, well, not just my shed. Unfortunately, if I say just from my shed, the wife will go crazy because the shed will have to be bigger than the house. So when I retired quite a few years ago, I had a lot of stuff in storage. And I thought, what am I going to do with it? When Mannin Sheds come up, I can use it for other people to enjoy. So the likes of the wood lathe, we've got a fella here today who's actually learning how to do wood turning. And I've done wood turning in the past, and I like to pass the skill on. And the whole idea of the shed is other people to come in who've got skills to share them. So when you retire, it's no such thing as sitting on a sofa and fester and thing. You've got a skill you can pass on. Come up to the shed and pass it on.
We were talking about loneliness among older men and solitude amongst older men. How much a part does this play?
To me, it plays a big uplift to get them out of that situation. Because it doesn't matter if you come here and say, I don't want to do anything, Roy. That's fine. We'll just sit down, have a cup of coffee, put the world to rights, and hopefully that by the time that person leaves, he's a lot happier when you first come. But it's, unfortunately, it's getting an elderly gentleman to come out of the seat and just pop in for 2 minutes. And if you don't like it, it's fair. If they do, it could change their life.
You know what men are like, though. Lots of men just don't like fuss, do they?
Yeah.
They don't like the faff of doing something.
But then again, if you sit back too much, you become depressed. Now, when you become depressed, you don't want to get up and move. And to get some people out of that situation, you actually got to make the first step. Out of depression, you've got to actually try and get out of it. Nobody can help you if you're not willing to help yourself to get out of depression.
So if somebody's listening now and they're retired, a man not up to much, not doing much with their life, what would you say to them?
Well, for my own life experience, I had to retire at 50 because I had a heart problem. And with a whole year, I got depressed sitting around, doing nothing. But I decided when Men in Sheds appeared, I thought, I'm going to go for this. And just go for it. Just come up. We're not an environment that we're threatening. We want to join everyone, regardless if you've got skill level or not. Just come in, see what we're about, enjoy the little banter. We might take fun of each other, but it's kid humour. It's to try and uplift each other. Like this man here.
Yeah.
I don't think you mind me saying, but when he first come, he was really depressed and he was really crying a lot. We've made a friendship and we've kept it. And he knows I'm here for him if he needs anything.
And you lost your wife,
here
Jerry.
for me if I need it. So the whole shed is based on friendship, I'd say.
So what about this place, Jerry, helped you?
Well, like Roy say, I just went downhill. I really did just to go downhill, and I met Roy, and he said, come up, you know, and have a look around. And we did bits and pieces, but because we were in the hospital, that's where I turned round when we were just talking all the time in the hospital. We just chat. And then I said to Roy one day, do you know, I'd love to ride a motorbike. And he said, well, get a motorbike and I'll teach you. And I now have a massive motorbike and I passed my test.
What have you got?
A Kawasaki Cruiser 800.
Oh, good grief.
But his is only a baby, mine's a 900.
It's got a 900, yeah.
Whereabouts do you live, Jerry?
I live at Ballaugh.
Oh, let me stay out of the way.
Actually, he's a very safe rider because he's a slow rider.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I'm a mediocre. I'm not a red mist.
900?
Yeah, 900 shaft drive.
Yeah,
There's a Yamaha. We've both got fairly old bikes.
And you're how old?
I am now 62.
And Jerry is
74.
on an 850?
800.
800. Yeah. Oh, good Lord.
I just tell you a small story. When we used to be at the hospital, where I live, there's an alleyway. And I didn't know where to park the bike. And I didn't want to get it, because I worked on it. And I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll put it in between the alleyway. So I drove it in and got stuck. The handlebar stuck against the wall. I couldn't get off the bike. I had to wait for the postman to turn up to drag me out. And when I come to the hospital and we had our meeting and that, I told him, nobody sat on my seat, you know, just crazy, you know. I did stupid things, I just, you know, and I reversed it once and I got stuck again, and the grooves are still in the wall.
Oh, good. Do you go out often on the bike now?
I go with Roy.
Oh. Have you always been a chatter, Roy?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. I've always been a friendly lad.
Where does that come from?
Do
you like it at school?
No, I hated it.
Yeah?
I was bullied at school. Really bullied. I'm not just talking. I'm talking. If you brought it to this day and age, you'd actually get the bullies that bullied me up for GBH and ABH and all sorts. So I came from a very shy background. I wouldn't even speak to a teacher. I wouldn't speak to friends. I wouldn't speak to my mum and dad. The things that were going on at school. But the minute I left school, I ran out of school. And I went straight into the apprenticeship within a fortnight of leaving school. And when you do work out on sites, you have to mix and mingle and talk. And the way I found I got out of it, believe it or not, I actually joined a church when I was really married. And I actually started learning how to do preach sermons and stuff. And it was building confidence up so you can actually speak in public. And I thought, I'm different. I'm not what I was. And it's because I've made myself come out of my shyness.
So that you almost transcended it.
Yeah. But I also did 27 years in the Highway Board. And you ask any of the gangs that were with me, I've always had a sense of humour.
Yeah, we know that.
And
Yes, we know that. We've seen the roads.
Yes, and I tend to pick up straight away. If somebody makes a slight mistake in what they're speaking, then I'll make something out of it and make it funny. So be careful what you say.
So you're here 4 days a week.
Yes.
How many weeks of the year is it open?
Majority. It's the only time we shut is TT fortnight and Grand Prix fortnight, and sometimes Christmas. Depends how friendly our management are. Let's have time off. But I love it that much. You even ask me why. The shed to me is number one. I do everything for the lads here. I'd even cut my hands and legs off if I had to.
Shouldn't you say your wife's number one?
Yes, but she supports me.
Yeah, I was going to say, what does she make of all this, Roy?
I think she's, from what she tells me, she's 100% for me. And she'll come up and clean the toilets and do bits and pieces as well. She's done some baking for today. And one of my other friends is up here, Dominic, his wife does cakes. And I usually get told off when I come home because I always take the leftover cake. But I've got a way around that is the grandkids love it, so they have the cake.
This is a really friendly place. You can tell that from just from walking in the place as well. So, and I want to stress this about people who are at home, and it's a modern day thing because Roy, you retired at 50 because of a heart problem. Yeah. Now, years ago, people died of heart problems, Roy, yes. and people now are living into their 80s and 90s routinely as well. So, older men. There are more older men, so there are more lonely old men as well.
That's it.
So, and there is no point just sitting at home, is there?
No.
And depression is an illness, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's actually what you call it class as a silent killer. Yeah. Because once you start vegetating at home, it's a proven fact that your time is very limited. And this thing that I've heard people say, well, I'm waiting in God's waiting room. God hasn't got a waiting room, mate. And if you actually looked into the older style lifestyle, there's no such thing as retirement.
No, that's true. Retirement's completely changed, doesn't it?
Yes, because even if you speak to some of the old-time farmers, the Manx ones over here at the minute, some of them at 80 plus are still farming. And you say to them, well, why haven't you retired? Well, I love what I do. This is what keeps me going.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there. If you find something you really like doing.
Yeah. It's lots of things. I've spoke to people that they've said, I wish I could have done a bit of woodwork. Well, why don't you just come up? And it doesn't matter if you make something, you make a hash of it. Have another go.
But you know as well that blokes sometimes don't like to be made fools of, and they don't like to, if they come in here and they hit their thumb with a hammer and they, muck up a piece of wood, they don't want anybody taking the mickey, do they?
Oh no, we won't do that. That's the one thing we don't do. No, we don't do that. I understand.
Everybody's doing the Pinocchio nose behind your back.
No. Put this way, when you do your apprenticeship, you make big cock-ups. Yeah. And you've got to be man enough to say, I made a mistake there. And if there's a good fellow that's training you, will say, never mind, we'll do it again. And we're just like that here. If you make a mistake on something, don't worry about it.
So if somebody's rubbish at woodwork, what would be the first thing they could make, and how long would it take them?
The first thing you can make is like a bird box. In fact, to me, it'll take about half an hour. These are the bug boxes over here, and the bird boxes are a similar shape to these. And it's just basically you cut pieces of wood and nail them together. There's nothing, no joints in it, and I can actually design stuff around to your skill level. So if you want to do something really simple, I'll do something simple with you. So
you could teach somebody to make a table. Somebody who's no good at woodwork, you could have them making a table or a chair.
Yeah.
Within how long?
Well, it depends how long you're going to how quickly you are to learn.
So if you're a quick learner and you want to learn, you can up people's woodworking skills.
Yeah, that's it.
So shelves, tables, there's a garden seat there as well. Who made that?
We refurbish them. People bring them in and say, can you refurbish the seat?
So
we sand the
so
seat.
if somebody's got a knackered old rotten wooden seat on
Yeah.
that's a wooden seat on a steel frame, is it?
Yeah.
So if somebody's got one of those, you can do those.
Yeah,
How much
just
does it
bring it
cost?
up.
How much does it cost?
Well, it depends on how much work's involved, but a lot of
On
our
average.
work, yeah, Roy will work out how much it will cost in terms of time and ask for a donation around.
Because that's
that
the
area.
worst thing. If you get a nice garden seat and the thing just rots away and gets covered in moss,
Yeah,
you can solve that.
yeah.
But Roy has also done a lot of work with the boys about upcycling. So sometimes they'll go and get a piece of furniture, upcycle it, and again we'll put it on our Facebook pages and ask
Yeah.
people if they want to make a donation.
What's
for it.
upcycling, Roy?
It's basically getting an old piece of furniture. I'll show you one down here. Somebody's brought in, but this is the sort of thing we do.
We're going for a walk.
We're going for a walk.
Oh, I see, yeah.
This cupboard was lying in a barn and didn't have the base on it, so I've renewed the base for
So it's
it.
an old, this is about 4 foot high wooden cabinet, yeah? How
Yeah.
old is it?
Well, this I'd say that an average is at least 100 plus years old.
Right.
And the bottom has rotted out of it, so I've made a new base for it, which is down. This piece here
Gotcha.
doesn't look a lot,
Yeah.
but it actually holds a whole unit.
So you've reset, this is a 100-year-old cabinet, about
Yeah.
4 feet high. You got it out of a barn, it was falling
No,
to pieces.
somebody's brought it in, but we actually...
Somebody had this in the house.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Not in the house, I think it was in an
Yeah.
old Dutch barn. But they come up and say, can you do anything with it?
Right, so this is important then. If anybody's got some old knackered wooden furniture that they'd like
Yeah.
look at, they can bring it and you'll look
Yeah.
at it and you'll
Or-
tell them whether it's worth
Yeah.
refurbishing.
Or if they've got an old piece and they just want to get rid of it,
Right.
they can bring it up and say, do you want it? I'll take a look at it. Yes, we can do something with it. I can recycle it and sell on, do you mind? And they say, no, it's fine. So there's lots of old bits of furniture lying in people's houses. They're just going to throw in the skip. But sometimes when you do it up, people love it more than a brand new piece of furniture.
Roy, what do you think about young men, aside of men in sheds, but what do you think about young men nowadays learning woodwork? Men don't seem to do it, do they?
No, because they're too busy, got two big thumbs.
Computer games.
Yes, you got it in one.
Because years ago, people used to, metalwork and woodwork was in schools, wasn't it?
Yeah, but when you think about it too, family life was totally different. It wasn't such thing as go down to B&Q and buy a new piece of furniture. You either had to make it or do without it. And so skill levels were a lot higher to survive. But nowadays, it's throwaway society. You can just pick your computer up, oh, I want a new table. You got one.
On Amazon, yeah.
Yeah, so everything's coming on the internet. So the children, I'm not against schools, but I can remember woodwork at school was not too bad. But since my son went to school, it's gone downhill. They're not teaching them skills anymore.
I don't think there's a school. Is there a school on the island that teaches woodwork? I can't think of one.
There was, when I did my apprenticeship, you went to the College of Further Education.
Well, I think the college still does because they
And
do
it does day release
yeah,
for
they,
apprentices.
they do all sorts of brickwork, bricklaying and everything, don't they? So you
Yeah.
can do that at the college.
Yeah, but the firms don't seem to be taking on young apprentices.
And this will be what, building firms?
Building firms. You never hear, well, I've bumped into a few. You go apprentices are actually on each site, you don't find any, hardly.
So where are they getting the joiners from?
They do like, I think, I'm not too sure, I can't be 100% certain, I think they've got to get a firm to sponsor them to go on. So if you can go for, say you leave school, go to the college, do a bit first couple of years, but you then got to get a firm to sponsor you for the rest of your time.
Yeah.
So in my day, you actually found the firm, then you went for your college.
Well, life is certainly different now. I just want to briefly talk about this and tell me that you don't want to if you don't want to. But you said you were bullied at school.
Yeah.
How did you cope with that as a child? Did you tell your parents?
No. I'm from a large family.
How many?
7 of us. And if you would, I would say, even at home, I can't speak bad against my parents, but you can understand, if you got 7 kids,
There wasn't much
kids take
attention
over,
going around.
you don't
yeah.
get the same attention.
Yeah.
So therefore, to give equal attention to all your children at that many It's not an easy thing. But I grew up as I'd take myself off by myself. Wouldn't have nothing to do with my siblings. I'll just go out in the fields because we used to live out in the countryside, so I could actually lose myself. And I was happy just losing myself. But as you get older, you realise you can't actually live life by yourself. It gets worse. So therefore, get company and things.
So I mean, to cope with bullying at school, you were obviously a very strong character. That mentally, that must have taken a lot of resilience to cope with something like that, Roy.
It always stays with you. People say, "Oh,
did you reconcile it later in life? Have you come to terms with it?"
I don't think you're allowed to these days. Because when I went to school, I was about the same size as a brush handle, very thin, lightweight, not very strong.
We live in different times, don't we now, Roy?
We do.
I mean, those times. I mean, bullying was it was around in those days, and as you say, nobody made that much of a fuss about it. Nowadays, it's all over the papers and all over the news, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But since I've left school, as you can see, I'm a lot bigger than just a round tub.
You've been on the sandwiches. Tell me a bit about. Were you a lay preacher? Are you a lay preacher? What do you do?
No. I'm what you class. Well, it's not class. I'm a Christian, born again Christian. But I'm not one that's. I won't put it down your throat.
Not a Bible basher.
No, I'm not a Bible basher. I live what the Christian way is treat everyone equal. No one is any different than you. But we have, at the end of my life, I know where I'm going, and that keeps me going. I'm happy.
Well, it's good to talk to you, Roy, and we're going to chat to some more of the boys. Everybody has a bit of banter here as well. It's all very, very good-natured.
It's well trained, you see.
Yeah, yes, and nobody's swearing while we're here, which I do appreciate, by the way.
No, don't get too thing there.
Yeah, we're live at Mannin Shads. We're in Ramsey and having an absolute ball here as well. So just remember the two things. A, they can refurbish wood furniture, outdoor wood furniture, and also if you have any old wood furniture that you don't want, they'd love to see it as well. We're going to be back in a moment with Mannin Sheds in Ramsey.